big shoes to fill because, you know, in Togo, he's like the Bob Marley of Togo. So.
All right. Well, welcome, Tabi Bonney. We really appreciate your time. Thanks for making time for us. First of all, my first question is going to be about the pandemic. It's always about the pandemic. How are you feeling? How are you holding up with everything going on?
I mean, you know, it's up and down mentally, I think, just with everything going on in the world with, you know, just these swings week to week when you think, you know, this is a lot, then more comes and more comes. So it's truly testing, I think, our mental, you know, with a lot of us and how much we take on, especially if you're a empath. So yeah, it's outside of that, been safe, healthy, no, you know, I'm okay.
Well, this is probably a terrible follow-up question then, you know, considering everything you just said, but bear with me. How many things have you had canceled this year? When I think about everything that people have going on, especially entertainers and creatives, that can be really hard.
Yeah, for me, it was more so the photography. I just got back from an exhibit in Amsterdam. Supposed to have one, my biggest one in LA. So obviously that didn't happen, and then supposed to have one in Lisbon as well too. So it's okay to be pushed back till next year or the year after that. Didn't have any music scheduled, and you know I have businesses, but the businesses have been doing well, fortunately enough for me, with the skincare and the coffee. So. Yeah.
I love to hear that. I'm glad, you know, you're at least finding some peace outside of everything going on. Well, we know you're from DC, but you're also from Togo, West Africa. So you're traveling sometimes, well, not now in the middle of the pandemic. I'm sure you're not traveling as much, but you travel usually between West Africa and DC. What is that like for you?
It's amazing. You know, I grew up being between Togo and DC. So I started school there, and we would come to DC in the summer, then it switched to school in DC, then summer in Togo. So I'm used to it. I love the switch up where, you know, you don't get too inundated with like one culture. You get, you know, a global culture, a different view on life. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
What is that like? You said a different view on life. I think I could relate, being from Jamaica and having family still in Jamaica and going back and forth. Yeah, you could definitely sense like the different vibes in the on the island versus in the States. What do you think is the most different for you? What do you appreciate the most?
For me, it's the people, it's the environment, it's also you know, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of land. So, you know, we're up in the mountains on our farms, the cacao farms. We're down the street from a waterfall. You also get, you know, in the mountains, we don't have as much internet and contact with the world. So I get to just be in the mountains, be with the people, be on the farm. So that's a huge difference.
Yeah, no, it's a lot more relaxing, right? I feel like in the States we work so hard here. And when you go to countries where things are a little bit slower, it's just, yes, like you said, you feel a little bit more at peace. I like that.
Yeah.
So how did you transition from being a rapper to now doing all of this photography? Is that your picture behind you?
That is, yeah.
Nice.
This is one of them. Yeah, yeah.
How did you go from being a rapper to now taking on all these roles, owning a coffee business? This is amazing.
Yeah, the photography I always shot because I had to shoot. I had a clothing line before I really started rapping, so I picked up the camera to shoot my clothing line. So it was a easy, natural transition because I've always been doing it. The business part, as far as the coffee and the skincare, was definitely tougher, but I love it because I love a challenge and a creative challenge as well too. Because with business, you have to apply a lot of creativity as well. And I reached a space in music where I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it anymore. So I stepped away from rapping for a while, and now I switched to singing. So it's a new challenge. It's you know, I feel good about it.
That's good. And I saw you polled your followers on Instagram asking them if you should open a coffee business in DC or a
Oh,
coffee store.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
No, yeah. At some point, I do want to have shops here in LA and DC, Paris, London, Togo. That's the goal. So just something to spread. We have a lot of land, we have a lot of coffee, and I realized that people don't drink coffee from Togo or have never tried it before, and it's some of the most amazing coffee. So just want to share that and the culture with the rest of the world, really.
How did you come up with the name for the business?
It's my father's name. So
Nice.
Itadi is my father's name. He untimely passed, I think it's 5 or 6 years ago now, and his dream was to always make sure that we went back home to Togo. He always wanted me to do something with the farms. He was the biggest music artist out of Togo, so he never fully focused on capitalizing on the land and the farms. He was just immersed to his own music. So that I just felt like I had to pick it up and make some of his dreams come true by capitalizing on what we have.
That's beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, what was it like to have a dad who was also passionate about music?
It was great at one end and then tough at the other because you get a lot of criticism and, and stuff like that. And then also big shoes to fill because, in Togo, he's like the Bob Marley of Togo. So
Wow.
it's the it was just always around me, always hearing the band downstairs practicing, always seeing him either going on tour or having shows coming up. So I've just always been around it.
That's beautiful. I really like that a lot. I watched an interview from, I think it was 2009, where you were talking about why you didn't want to sign with a record label. Are you still taking that position? Do you not want to sign with anyone right now?
Yeah, I think at the time you know, I wanted to. I think every artist would love that major backing and to be pushed. It was just they wanted to. I took meetings and they wanted to sign me, but like they wanted me to make the pocket a dance or wanted me to be a different artist than what I was, which I was like, that's not what I am. So that's why I never fully took a situation and was independent. I think now we're in a situation where, more artists are independent because, being signed to a record label is almost like slavery at this point, where you could
Mm.
get your music out to the world and they're only giving you pennies on the dollar for your music. It's just very bad contracts right now. So I think at this point I don't think so unless it was we were able to come to an understanding of the monetarily this makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We've seen some conversations around that with Megan Thee Stallion and her contract situation. So yeah, it definitely makes sense. Well, we're approaching. This will air on Friday, October 23rd, which is weeks, or that'll be about a week or so before the election. Don't want to get too political. You don't seem like the type, but what do you think, should be the future of this nation? Which direction should we go from here, especially in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah, I really think that this has showed us that poor leadership really does hurt the country and puts a country in bad situations. So I think it's time for better leadership and clear and distinct path of which way we should go. So I'm leaning towards Biden and Kamala, and I would love to see the first Black woman vice president. Like that would be amazing. Plus, she went to Howard as well. So the country's in chaos and turmoil right now, and it's truly due to the current leadership.
Mm. So do you have dual citizenship? Or you most nice? Yeah, I should have done that, but I just was too lazy to go through with the process. But what is that like? So you get to vote here?
Yeah, I vote.
Nice.
Here. I vote. I'm a California voter, actually, not
nice.
a DC voter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So you get to vote here. Okay, great. Do you get to vote in Togo too? You don't go there.
Yeah, I don't want to speak on. Yeah,
no worries
on that. Yeah.
Got it. Well, I don't know if you're watching a little bit. Have you ever visited Nigeria?
I have not. I've always been scared to visit Nigeria.
Why?
Growing up, you hear the stories about Nigeria. It's like the New York of West Africa. You need to know somebody. You can't go on your own. It's those stories. So
gotcha.
I definitely want to go to Nigeria, and I have many friends now that are from there. So I'm looking forward to it, and we'll be there at some point soon.
Nice. The only reason I asked is because I don't know if you've been following this with Davido. He had been joining protesters there to talk about what's going on with the SARS situation. So, it seems like, the political conversation, do you think that's similar to what you've heard in Togo sometimes?
It's different. We Africa is a completely different beast. You know what I mean? To put it in perspective, we couldn't go back to Togo for 10 years because of my father's music spoke out at the time against the current administration. So, there it's we don't have the luxury we have here.
Wow, that I get what you're saying. That's really interesting. I did see also that you started leaning towards Afrobeats a little bit more. Are you still doing Afrobeats?
Yeah, it's Afrobeat, R&B. Just I feel singing more. I think it suits me. From here on out, it's something also my father wanted me to sing. He was like, and I was like, I can't sing. It's like everybody can sing. They just have to find their voice. So for me, just in my transition, I feel singing more, and I'm going to continue with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That meme, the meme where they say where it started, how it's going. Have you seen that meme?
Yeah.
How do you feel about where you started and now how it's going? How do you feel about the difference?
Man, I'm more comfortable now, and I'm more clear on my path. When I first started out, I was scrambling, even though I was seeing success and to the outside world looking like I was doing it. I still didn't know, which direction I was truly headed into. I didn't take things as serious. I didn't all the way see music as a career. It's like, oh, this is cool. This is happening right now. For the first time in my life, I'm looking at music as a career, a full-time career. Also with the businesses and everything, being able to be back and forth home, being able to monetize our coffee farms, cacao farms, just I feel like I'm in a real good place. I would have never imagined I'd be in this situation.
That's really cool. And what would you say to young people, especially in the DMV, who have looked up to you for many years? What advice would you give them? We do have a lot of up-and-coming rappers in the DMV, musicians, just creatives in general. It's a great talent pool. What would you say to them?
I would just say be yourself and find your own voice. Don't follow the crowd. That's what's always worked for me. You don't stick out if you're in the crowd. So be yourself. Once everybody's their self, it makes the world a better place. And I think you'll see way more success if you're in touch with your inner voice.
Nice. Well, thank you so very much for talking to us and joining us. We are definitely looking forward to learning more about the coffee business. And if some shops come to DC, you got to let us know so we can visit. That would be very cool. Where are the locations currently, and where can they purchase if they want to?
Everything is online right now. Yeah,
Good.
so we're a true e-commerce business right now.
Probably the best place to shop right now
Yeah.
with everything going on. Yes. Thank you. We will definitely check that out. Looking forward to that. Thank you. Any other projects that you want to promote that we should know about?
No, it's just the coffee, ItadiCoffee.com, the skincare, ItadiBody.com, and everything else people will see when it's time.
I think you hinted at chocolate at one point. Is that still on in the works?
Still, we have a huge cocoa farm, cacao farm. So chocolate has to come. It's just going to make sure that these businesses are fully up and running. Then once they're good, I'll introduce the chocolate.
Nice. Do you feel like this business, the cacao business, does that need more minorities? Have you seen the competition, or what do you think about Starbucks being the giant that it is? Is in need of more minority-owned small businesses within that talent pool?
Yeah, I mean it's a handful, but of course it could always be way more. It's wide open for us, and for me, I have no other choice. We have the farm, so it's not like I just hopped into it like, oh, I'm going to do coffee or I'm going to do chocolate. It's been in our family for generations, and for generations, it's been shipped to Italy and packaged as Italian coffee, or somewhere else in the world and packaged as a different type of chocolate when it's from Togo.
Nice.
Yeah.
What have you learned in that business? What are you learning about the challenges? If somebody's interested in getting into the business, what are the challenges?
That's like
A
a
whole nother
semester.
podcast.
That's a semester of being a professor and teacher. It's an industry, you know what I mean? It's a whole new industry, but just like any other industry, it takes diligence. You have to put your head down. You have to figure your way around. You also dealing with importing from a French-speaking country to an English-speaking country, which poses its own challenges just because of the differences in languages. So, yeah, it's a lot, but everything is moving forward. We're learning every week.
Wonderful. Thank you for making time. We really appreciate this. Looking forward to hearing much more about those projects.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Tabi. See
All
you
right.
soon.